Always gotta gloss up. I feel like this describes my money mindset so well, sitting down to film a video about finances while putting on lip balm, and I've got a bunch of Mickey ear headbands on the wall behind me. I will say that this lip balm is my absolute favorite. This is like the one lip balm to end all lip balms for me. I will absolutely be repurchasing this when it runs out, and I think this is honestly the only one that I ever need. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Becca, and I bring you along on my journey of creating a life that I love, which to me means focusing on fitness and finances. In today's video, I am getting personal with personal finance, and I am going to be kickstarting my journey toward growing my net worth to $100,000. $100,000 is a common goal in the financial independence sphere, and it is for a good reason. If you assume that you're making 7% returns annually and you're also investing $10,000 annually, it would take you about 7 years to grow that to 100K, but then your next 100K after that takes a little less time because of the compounding interest of that first 100K working in your favor, and that just gets shorter and shorter the time to continue growing your net worth. So it gets easier once you hit that first threshold of $100,000, and that is why I have chosen to make that my next financial milestone. There are many financial milestones on a financial independence journey, and each level grants you increasingly more and more freedom. So for example, for me, I've paid off my credit card debt, and I have also now saved up a healthy emergency fund, and therefore the next milestone for me is going to be growing my savings and investments up to hitting that first $100,000. That way, hopefully my money will start to work more for me, and maybe even one day in the future my money will work harder than me. I recently turned 29 years old, and amidst my Saturn return year, I realized that I was not setting my future self up for success, and my daily habits were not in alignment with the future that I wanted to create for myself, so I knew that something needed to change. I want this video to be an example of a very average and very real girl chasing financial independence, especially as a former overspender who lives where people vacation. I also just want to make a quick note that personal finance is extremely personal. We all have our own backgrounds, experiences, and money beliefs, and this is me being vulnerable and sharing my real life experience. These kinds of videos have been so inspiring and helpful to me on my journey that I just want to give back and hopefully inspire you. I really just want you to create a life that you love, whatever that looks like for you, and I want to be here to inspire and motivate and chase our goals together. Having a goal really changes the way that I make decisions, especially surrounding fitness and finance, and I'm also a very big why person, so if I know the why behind what I need to do, it makes it a whole lot easier for me to implement the daily habits and change needed to achieve that end goal or result. I also realized that net worth is just numbers on a screen, and it does not define your value. We're all gonna die one day, and no one at your funeral is going to say, oh, she had XYZ net worth. They're probably more focused on what kind of person you were and the joy you brought to someone's life and how you made someone feel. And so I've been working on my mindset of separating the net worth from being worthy or placing value based on a number. But of course I would love to see these numbers grow, and it is the next milestone on my financial independence journey. Which brings me back to the purpose of this video, which is kickstarting my net worth journey. I want to define net worth just so that we're all on the same page. It's a very simple calculation of what you own minus what you owe. So your assets minus your liabilities. Assets are things like checking accounts, savings accounts, investment accounts, if you own things like gold or precious metals, and then liabilities are things like credit card debt, personal loans, car notes, things like that. In this video, I'm going to be going over where I am currently at, as well as how long it might take me to reach this $100,000 net worth goal. Okay, so I'm going to be moving over to my computer screen, but I'll go ahead and pop up live what I'm doing. That way you can see as I kind of go along and explain here. This is my Dream Life dashboard. This is everything for my personal finance, everything that I track, my spending, my savings goals, retirement goals, and net worth, which is what we are discussing today. So this is the net worth tab on my Dream Life dashboard. And as I was explaining before, this is essentially just as simple as the sum of your assets minus all of your liabilities. And that is exactly what I have listed out here. So you'll see all of the accounts that I wish to track are here on this column, and then the dates are on each of the top columns. And I update my net worth statement monthly, always at the end of the month for that prior month. So since at the time of filming, we're not quite at the end of July yet. What we're working off of is the numbers as of the end of June. And so this will be June's net worth update. The next one I will do will be for July, which will be at the end of July for the month before. That's how I like to do it. You can do it however you like. That being said, these numbers are all from the end of June. So I will kind of explain a little bit about some of the accounts as I move through them, but I don't want to take too much time in this video. I'm happy to make other videos and I look forward to doing so. However, let's just go ahead and get on into it. So starting off with my checking account, this one is pretty straightforward. That is just what I keep in my bank account for like things like paying bills, and it's really just a movement. I don't keep a whole lot of balance in there. It's just for a form of, you know, inflow, outflow, moving money around, direct deposits, things like that. So currently in the checking account, I have $691.50. Next is my high yield savings account. If you do not have a high yield savings account, I need you to pause this video, go open a high yield savings account. You can use my link, I'll put it in the description if you want. I use Ally. A high yield savings account is, if you don't have one and you have savings, you are throwing away extra money, free money. A high yield savings account gives you a higher rate of interest than a standard savings account will, and you will make money just for having money in there. I cannot recommend it enough. I love Ally. There are so many other high yield savings account options out there. Highly recommend that you open a high yield savings account. In mine, I keep my emergency fund and then any of my sinking funds or just savings for specific things. It all goes into one account, my high yield savings account, that at the time of recording this is $9,701. And then next is my Roth IRA. So this is also another great account. If you don't have a Roth IRA opened, I highly recommend opening one. It is essentially using after-tax dollars to contribute. They have a max on it. I believe this year is $7,500. It is one of the best retirement accounts, if you qualify for, that you can have. And there are income limits and specific details. I'm not gonna get into all of that in this video, but having a Roth IRA is very important. It is one of my goals eventually to be able to max out a Roth IRA. I'm not currently at that point in my life. However, I do have some savings in here. So I currently have $10,200.84 in this account. Next is my employer sponsored plan. This is my employer 401k. This is a common retirement account in the United States. If you have an employer who offers this account, you probably also have a match that they grant for you. I am very fortunate to receive a match from my company, and so it is really important if you're looking to have retirement savings that you contribute enough to be able to get that match. And because it's basically free money, it's free money, just like having a high yield savings account. So my employer sponsored plan is my highest balance now, and I do think that that is common for folks who are employed. That balance is at $44,905.91. Next, I do have a Coinbase account. I have some Bitcoin. It's not a whole lot, and I don't really pay that much close attention to it, but it is nice to kind of track it month to month and see kind of what's happening there. And that is currently at $558.24. I had $1,000, so I'm down quite a bit in this account, unfortunately. But again, it's just like fun money that I have, so it is what it is. Next, I have a individual brokerage account, and so this is a little bit different than having a retirement account. It is an investment account, but it's an individual account. You don't have to wait to retirement to pull out these funds, is a general understanding. I opened this account very recently, and it's mostly just for fun to invest in random stocks or things that I would like to do, and I kind of just treat it like fun. So in that account currently I have $111.78. Next is my HSA, which is a health savings account, and I am very fortunate to be employed at a company who offers a high deductible health plan that I enrolled in, which gives me access to having a healthcare spending account. And a lot of people actually use HSAs as like investment vehicles, which I think is so fascinating. This is the first year that I have done that. So I have the healthcare savings account that you can actually invest and use it as an investment vehicle, which I think is really cool. So that balance is at $1,597.67. I also do have a little bit of cash that I keep, and I like to track it just to stay up with everything. Again, this is like my full picture of everything happening in my financial world is in this document. So I don't often have a lot of cash. I usually just have, you know, a little bit if I'm going to yard sales or if it's given to me as a gift or a Facebook marketplace. So that balance is currently sitting at $151. And then the last thing that I track actually was a gift to me. It is a gold coin, and this, I went back and forth of whether I wanted to track this, but I ultimately think it's kind of fun to see the difference of the coin as opposed to like the stock market and the value of it over time. And so I will just track it from this website here, and I just track like the melt value of what it would be worth if I were to just like melt it down for the gold itself. And so that balance is currently sitting at $402.73. I choose not to track my car as an asset. I know that some people do. However, for me, I don't want to do that. I don't think that the car is necessarily an asset. I could probably sell it for a good amount of money at this point. It is fully paid off. However, I choose not to track that on my net worth statement. And I am very fortunate to not have any debt. So with all of my accounts totaled up, that puts my net worth at $68,320.67. So far on my financial journey, I think the biggest feeling that I've had is gratitude. I do feel very grateful to be in the position that I'm in, and the fact that I'm starting somewhat close to my goal of 100,000. I do feel very grateful to not be living paycheck to paycheck and to have an emergency fund and have savings. That being said, it is also very hard not to compare myself to other people who might be in a better place financially than me. However, I've learned that the only person that I can really compare myself to is myself and my past self. So that's also why I think tracking net worth and having a month by month timestamp of where I'm at to look back on my progress, I can compare against myself. You know, I had so much debt, and there I was And here I am now on my way to 100,000 net worth. I think having the data and not comparing against other people, but just comparing against yourself and wanting to make better decisions and put yourself in a better place. I know that life happens and life be lifin' sometimes, which is why I have an emergency fund. I do assume that I will have to use it at some point, and it's not a matter of if, but when. And in addition to that, with the market not knowing where it's going to be at and the fluctuations, both of those kind of play a factor in the timeline that I am expecting of myself for this $100,000 journey. So if I continue to contribute the amount that I am now, I'm set to hit $100,000 in net worth by my 30th birthday. I would love nothing more than to hit this goal by my 30th birthday. However, that being said, with the factors coming into play, there is some uncertainty around it, and so I fear setting that goal for myself. I just don't want to set myself up for failure. However, timeline-wise, that is kind of what I'm looking at, is at or around my 30th birthday, which is in about a year from now. Once I do hit the $100,000 net worth goal, my next milestone will probably be 100K invested, because as you note, my net worth includes also my emergency fund, checking account, the gold piece. So my next goal after the 100K net worth will be strictly for my investment accounts to hit that $100,000 threshold. Having this goal is going to help me in the day-to-day decision making of ensuring that I consume consciously and with a purpose. That way I can maintain the margin that I need to be able to continue to invest this heavily into my accounts. It's not easy, but it is simple. I have automated my savings and investing, which makes it a lot easier because I just automatically write those off, which is the principle of paying yourself first. And knowing that that's all kind of happening in the background, I just love that this is a slow and sustainable way of building wealth. And having my budget, I'm still allowed certain things that I love and want to spend money on, but now I'm just being a lot more intentional, and with telling my money where to go and paying myself first will help me achieve this goal. Money is mostly discipline and behavior, and it is less about the actual numbers itself. I really don't want the takeaway from this video to be like, oh, Becca has XYZ net worth. Like, that's not the point of me making this video at all. It really is to show you and inspire you to take a look at your finances and show you that you can achieve the financial goals that you want to achieve. I never thought that I would be able to save money because I don't make a lot of money, but that story that I would tell myself is not true. If I can do it, you can do it. Even if you can only save a little bit, every single dollar that you save goes towards building a better future and buys you just a little bit more freedom. They say that your first 100K is the hardest and that it only gets easier from there. So that is my motivation to continue these monthly net worth check-ins to progress toward this goal. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. That way you can see all of my future videos on fitness, finance, and just creating a life that I love. Keep showing up for yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.